I've lived in Portugal for 5 years now, and Maya's been here for 3. So we want to share our personal experiences with you in case maybe you're thinking of moving over to Portugal, or whether you've been here already for a little while, and just to give you some context on our journey and where we've come from. So today we're going to give you 5 reasons why we love Portugal, and more specifically why we love living in Portugal. So make sure to subscribe and like the video so you can follow us along on our journey here in central Portugal. So reason number one is going to be diversity. And I don't necessarily mean diversity as in people diversity. I mean more the different areas of Portugal and different types of land we have here in Portugal. So for example, if you're a city lover and you want to live in a city where you've got opportunities, you've got close healthcare, food, all your amenities and supermarkets, you've got your cities, Porto, Lisbon, Faro, Castelo Branco, etc. They've got the big cities there that have many jobs and are more like other European cities really. Obviously they are uniquely Portuguese, but they do have more of an international feel to them. And for some people, that's what they're looking for, and fair enough. If you're more of a beach person, like I was for 4 years, you can live on the Atlantic coast, on the Silver Coast, on the west of Portugal, or you've got the Algarve in the south of Portugal. The Silver Coast is slightly quieter, especially year round. The Algarve is of course very busy and has lots of tourist destinations, lots of resorts for tourists and things like that, and it's more of a holiday destination and for most of the time. But you've got beautiful world-renowned beaches there and on the Silver Coast as well. Or if you're like me and you prefer mountainous areas, you can live here in the mountains. It's Serra da Estrela, Lusa, loads more mountain ranges up in the north of the country. So you've got mountain life, very isolated, but you're surrounded by animals and nature. There's also the Great Plains, like near Castelo Branco in the area, great for farming and animal rearing and stuff like that. Lots of communities there as well, expat communities in that area. So whatever you're looking for in Portugal in terms of the area and what climate you're after, it more than likely exists here in Portugal. So reason number two is of course the Portuguese people. The Portuguese people are incredibly accommodating, very polite, lovely people, kind, and you notice that from day one when you come here. Especially in the more rural areas, the people, the old farmers and things, they're really, really kind. My mum used to get loads of fruit and vegetables from her local farmers, just out of the kindness of their own heart really. Obviously when you first come and you don't speak the language, it can be difficult to interact with them. As you stay here for more time, you get more used to it, and you learn more words and you're able to interact a bit better with them. And they really do appreciate that as well. It's always great to try and speak the language. Even if they speak back in English, still try and speak Portuguese if you can, because they will appreciate it, and it shows that you're really trying to integrate. There are some bad apples, of course, there are in every country. I remember once when I first moved here, I called some company for something, and I didn't speak much Portuguese, so I just moved here. So I said, "Olá, desculpa, fala inglês," as in, sorry, do you speak English? And she said, "No, speak Portuguese," in Portuguese, and then put the phone down on me. So it's not going to be perfect. You are going to experience one or two people, but 99% of Portuguese people are amazing and lovely, and yeah, you'll make some good friends. So number three is linked to people, but it's more the pace of life here in Portugal. When I was in London, it was go, 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 on the tube, on the bus to work, working all day, everyone's walking past you really fast, it's just go, go, go lifestyle. And it was alright for a little while, but I don't like it. I'm done with that. So now I live here in the middle of nowhere and I don't see anyone all day, and I much prefer that. But no, it's really nice, and it depends on where you are. Like, it comes back to my first point. If you're in a city, it's going to be a bit more go, go, go. And some people need that. They need that sort of get up and go in their life, and that's fair enough. And them places exist in Portugal, but there are also places where everything slows down and everyone takes it easy. For example, you go to a shop. A lot of shops close at between 12 and 2 o'clock for lunch, because they have this unique family feeling and sense of community in the towns and villages. And it can be a little frustrating because you go to a shop and you get there at 1 o'clock and everything's closed. You're like, oh, I've driven half an hour to be here. So make sure to always check on Google Maps if something's open. But that is just a way of life here. It's more important that they have that lunchtime and family time and community time than getting extra revenue than they would do for those 2 hours of being open. And that is a difficult thing to grasp, because you're like, why aren't you open? You're not making any money. But that doesn't matter. They need their time, their lunchtime, and time to enjoy with their friends and family. And to them, that's more important. So once you make that shift in your mind, it becomes natural. So number 4 now, and that would be safety. Obviously, coming from London, it's not the safest of places. Lots of attacks and horrible things going on. I can tell you, compared to the UK, Portugal is super, super safe. I've been here 5 years. I've never encountered any kind of crime. I don't think, other than one thing getting stolen from one of my neighbours once, but that was it. And it's super safe here, especially at the night time. You can walk down the street at night and feel safe. Where Maya used to live in Aveiro, she used to come home from work in the night time on her own, and she never felt unsafe or anything like that. Obviously in the cities it might be a little bit different. I've not lived in Porto or Lisbon. I've stayed there for holidays, and it is a little bit more sketchy, but every city is sketchy in the world, isn't it? So they're no different. But generally the rest of Portugal, everyone is really nice, and people are more willing to share stuff with you than do any kind of crime against you. To be honest, here, and I'm being deadly serious, you're more likely to be attacked by a boar or a deer or something walking down the road than you are a person, which is crazy, but true. But the only downside to being so far away, if you are living in these isolated places like I am, is obviously you're far away from emergency services. So, it's a good hour away to the nearest hospital, etc. So you just have to take that into consideration. But for me, it's worth it for the lifestyle that we have here. So number 5, finally, is going to be the weather. Please ignore all this going on around me, the wind and the rain. This is rare. It's the first time really since we lived here in this part of Portugal that we've had this type of weather. But in the summer, in interior Portugal, is super hot and dry. We had 3 months, not one drop of rain for 3 months. We had one day in August, half day in August, one day in September. Now in October, the heavens have opened, but for those 3 months, there was sunshine every day, 35 to 43, 44 degrees every single day. And if you love the hot weather, this is the place for you. But you have to be careful, because in the winter you pay for it. In interior Portugal, it can go down to 0, -5 even Celsius in the night time here in the winter. So it does get very cold in the interior of Portugal, but it also gets very hot in the winter. If that's too much of a temperature difference for you and you want something a bit more comfortable, then all you've got to do is go to the coast or the Algarve. On the coast, you're looking at maximum 30 to 35 degrees in the summer and down to around 10 degrees in the winter. So it's much more comfortable. You don't get that freezing cold temperatures. And I lived there for 4 years and it was really nice and comfortable. But to be honest, I prefer the extreme weather, so I'm happy you're here. Of course, you get the nice storms in the autumn and the spring as well, which I love. Lots of lightning storms, which is great. So if you like extreme weather, the interior is good for you. But generally, compared to the UK, where you might get 1 or 2 weeks of dry weather in the summer, if you want a long, hot summer, this is the place to be. It's great for a holiday home. If you just spend the summer here and you've got the money and you've got the means to be able to do that, then having a holiday home here in central Portugal would be perfect. So that's our 5 reasons why we love Portugal. There are more, of course, but they're just 5 for now. If you want to see us make maybe 5 reasons that we don't like in Portugal, some of the things we don't particularly get on with, because there are some, of course, there will be in any country, then let us know in the comments and we can make that video as well. But please do give it a like and make sure to subscribe on the channel. Next time we'll be doing more of the house renovation stuff. We've got light fittings to do, we've got things to build. There's lots going on, so make sure to subscribe and not miss next week's video. But thanks so much for watching, really appreciate it, and we'll see you next week.